Hi. Would you like to know a shortcut, which, by the way, I don't believe in necessarily, to increasing your level of well-being, mental health, and even your physical health? Just want to make sure this is working. It is. Okay, because if the answer is yes, I'm going to give it to you in a few short sentences. One of the quickest ways that you can increase your sense of well-being is to become emotionally healthy. Now, very simply, what I mean by that is that we actually, those of us that used to or still do actually drive with cars that have 5 gears. I'm going to use that as a metaphor because we have in integrated Chinese medicine or traditional medicine, we have 5 emotional gear sticks. And every single one of them is really important for our well-being. And yet we live in a society at the moment, or societies in the West, where we simply will not feel our feelings. And there's a lot of what I call spiritual bypassing going on at the moment, or positivity. And it's false, echoless, empty positivity. Because if you look at the seasons, and traditional Chinese medicine is very clever because it's put Mother Nature that is outside of us inside, it's connected the two. And this expression that some of you will have heard, which all is one, makes absolutely no sense when you first hear it. But when you begin to realize that we really are completely interconnected with nature, and we begin to realize that we also have the seasons within us, and then you begin to dig a little bit deeper and you begin to know that each organ in your body actually, when it's balanced, gives you the capacity to respond emotionally to circumstances and situations. Now, that doesn't mean to say that your emotions hold you hostage. But what I am here to tell you is that not feeling your feelings and living on an iceberg, which I will describe what I mean by that, is actually a way of you being held hostage, and your energy and your dynamic life force will get stuck. And most of the people that I've worked with, including myself, by the way, all of us were living on an iceberg of unexpressed emotions. Now, this is a very good time to be thinking about things like this because we're in the autumn season, and that's connected to our ability to grieve and feel sad and to cry when really horrible things are happening or even painful things are happening. So that's on a physical, mental, and even spiritual level. If you look out into the world at the moment, there's just absolutely devastating things going on every which way. They're also affecting and impacting our children going to school right now. Who would know that we would be in circumstances here in England and across America where you send your child to school and they're in danger, or as I heard today from someone who I work with, their children's children are routinely stopped by people, young people with knives and things. So I'm not going to emphasize that, but what I am going to emphasize is this is the season when we need to become really truly aware of what we do with grief. Are we just sitting on an unexpressed, accumulating amount of grief? Have we had so many losses in our lives, so many losses of our hopes, our dreams, our expectations? Have we had so many that we've just frozen? Are we frozen in time? Do you feel as if you just have parked all those losses because you honestly don't have the skill set and the knowledge know how on earth to deal with it, and it feels too overwhelming. And when there's a little bit of numbing that goes on, how do you cope when that numbing goes off? So most of us are in fact sitting on the iceberg inside ourselves, as it were, and we have numbed out. Now, when life pushes us so hard, which of course it does, our numbing tactics don't work any longer. And then we feel as if there is something wrong with us. And I'm here to tell you that when the iceberg starts melting, that is what is right with us. Because your body will very, very cleverly tell you when it is time to stop parking all the losses that you've had. And there are many ways of dealing with grief, and in no way am I going to say that my training is the only way. But the combination of Chinese medicine and the grief recovery process and how I work with grief has not just released me and freed me because of the work of two brilliant, brilliant men in America and an incredible book that they wrote, but it's actually freed so many people all over the world now. And I'm going to do a workshop in November, so the link will follow on from this. And if you want to learn some new skills to discover how to deal with your iceberg and how to become emotionally available to yourself and to others, which in turn impacts your behaviors and impacts your sense of well-being, then absolutely push the link, and or you can contact me and I can tell you more about it. But my own personal life has been impacted hugely by learning some new skills around grief, because I had learned how to intellectualize any losses and to headbutt or intellectualize excuse me, emotions doesn't work in the long term. In the short term it does, in the long term it doesn't. And then you have accumulated losses just building inside you. And just like the gutters in your homes, which have to be cleaned out regularly, our bodies get cluttered with all sorts of losses. If you're curious about this, please push the link, find out more from me directly or from the lovely, lovely woman that I work with who's a trauma doula. She's an incredibly exquisite human being.